there is a new article which is released, new PowerShell modules which is released for Defender for Identity, kind of makes the deployment easier. We will go and try this in our lab. Basically, we'll try to set up the MDI ground up, and we'll go and leverage this PowerShell modules as well to see how it is working. To install and configure, I'll be using this particular official guidance, which has got all the details in terms of how do we set this up, what are the prerequisite, and all of them is here. So deploy Defender for Identity with XDR. So I will go through this and I'll do step by step in the lab. Start with the prerequisite. Licensing requirement and then permissions. I have a global administrator. I think I'm covered there. Configure a directory service account. I think that is required. I will go there, and either it can be a account or it can be a GMSA. That is also one possibility, or it can be a regular user account. We'll go with the GMSA. A little complicated, but that's exactly what is recommended. Right. So I'll try this. Basically, you create the account group and then have the domain controllers added to that particular group, give access to the group, etc., etc. That's the whole thing. I'll copy this to the domain controller and try to execute it once. Just go and change the domain controller name. It errored out. It says that okay, key does not exist. We'll go and create a key. We'll just go and restart the server once that is required. Let me save this. DMS8 should be, but yeah. Restarted. Running it again. Okay, the group already exists, possibly after we had run this earlier. So let me go ahead and rename this to 2 and group 02 and then execute it. Okay, bugged. Where is it? Okay, both are created, but let's see. I mean, I think the 02 is what we have given permissions, and the domain controllers are added. Right, so we'll go and use this 02 going forward. So we have used the script and created the account. Next would be provide all the required permission. Have a script given for that as well. Paste it here, make certain modification to the identity and then the group name, try to execute it. Okay. Some errors, but again, I think certain things has got executed properly. I'll review the errors a little later. Next would be to validate if it is able to retrieve the GMSA password. Let's try and do this. True or 02. Okay, standard. which ways? I'll run the same thing in 01 as well. There are additional tests which we can do to confirm if it is having the right permission or not. So secpol local policy log on as a service, and then we can see this account. Even in the RSOP, I don't see it. But I'll come back to these two things later. At least the PowerShell seems to be positive about the AD service account. So I'll move forward. If there are any errors, I'll just come back to this one again on the GMSA part. Prerequisite. There are other prerequisite in terms of permissions, etc. The GMSA part is done. The other permissions we will go and leverage the new PowerShell modules. Ports are all intact. This is there are other written script which I could go and execute as well. That will help me identify if things are in right shape. NTLM auditing, etc. That is something which can be set based on the new PowerShell modules what we have in place. We'll go and use that as well. Before that, let me have a look at the other things which needs to be done. Okay. So next would be to plan the capacity, and we can go and download the um, identity sensor. When I do that, I'll go and try and see what will happen if I try to install that new module, and then what are the options which are made available for us. Yeah. Okay, so the install module, import module, and get command module defender for identity. That's all working as expected. That's how we are getting started. We're getting help on those commanded as well. Installing help component anyways. This will be working. As I said, is trying to get the modules from the internet and then get all the syntaxes and everything for that particular command. Let's don't need this for now. I'll just go and stop it since it is taking a little longer. What next? Okay, we can test these. Set to false, that would mean things are not in place. And how to use set dash mdi configuration to be able to set that up. We will do that. Now let's go and see the other commandlet. That's also set to false. So I think we'll have to use all the set commandlets to fix things up for us. This is to set the high performance scheme. We can do that. This is to set a GPO name prefix. Okay, can do that as well. And here we are basically setting CA server configuration. We'll go and do that as well. And here we are going to set all the relevant GPUs. We will copy that and get this running on the ADF is not found, and then Exchange service is not found. That is true. Again, test our NTM local auditing. That is let's go and set this up. Now test. That is true now. So pretty much these modules can be leveraged to set all the required MDI configuration. There are certain ways to validate if things are all right. We'll go and do that as well in the due. So if we go to maybe group policy, the group policy, yeah, so go to group policy objects, and these are all result of the, the PowerShell modules which we have run. So if we go to maybe audit policy for domain controllers, and then we go to, yeah, this will be easy. Go to our computer configuration, security setting, and show an account log on. You can see, what are the things which what we are watching out for. Account management, success failure, group management, everything has been audited now. Not the case earlier, but using this particular PowerShell module, you can just kind of execute that, and then you have what you need. All the flags are basically set right. Now we can start setting up the instance for MDI now. Um, Now that we'll verify the connectivity to the identity service and then download the. Go to our XDR page, which is security.microsoft.com. Then go to settings and identities. So we go to identities. Nothing to be seen here. So we go to settings and then identities, and sensors, add sensor, the access key, download installer. Okay. Just have to refresh the page, and then I'm now able to download the installer. And then the pop-up blocker was also blocking. I had to remove that. And access key also getting generated. You can see that the installer is getting downloaded. Here, let me go to the extract. On the domain control, I'm on the domain controller, so I can just go and install this on that. Language and say sensor directly on your domain controller that monitors, etc., etc. Okay, that's the right option. Click on next. Access key I've just copied from there. I'm going to paste it here. Install, installation, and then overall progress here. Installation is completed. Go back to the portal and you get to see the domain controller in the sensors. Next would be directory service account. Add the credential. I think for of the GMSA. Let me see. This can be used. one or two both has gotten, we have tested and it is able to do it. So like, let me go and save it. Um, and health issues. I mean, you can set certain honey token accounts, etc., so that you can, set up certain traps for these malicious actors. So you can have possibly create an on-premises account, make sure that it's like, log on is denied for them, create certain accounts with some lucrative name like, super admin root or something of that sort, and then add them. So if there are any activities which are happening on that particular account, you kind of will be alerted for that. And the bad actor will not be able to log in because of the account restriction you have set, and you will receive those alerts as well. That's the whole idea. On the domain controller, you can check the program files folder, Azure Advanced Threat Protection, and then you get this provide the what do you call the version number. Then you go to the logs folder, and you will be able to see mm, certain logs which will help you understand. So for example, the try sensor log will give you all the logs related to Defender for Identity Sensor and the update log that will give you data with regards to this is basically responsible for updating the MDI, and then if there are any errors, that will be in the errors.log. All the errors which are caught by the sensor will be here. So that way you know that the sensor is installed and working the way it is expected to work. Go ahead and run some test commandlets with regards to we can download the NetSys exe, and you can it's a third party tool, but it will basically query the domain controller, and there are certain entries which will get enumerated, and these are things which will which is expected to um, enumerate certain entries, or maybe certain create certain alerts and all, right? So go to command prompt, and then you do an ns lookup for that particular server, and as a normal user, go to one of the kind of command prompts, and this definitely will make sure that the uh, alerts are generated. Net group domain admin slash admin, net group slash domain, net user slash domain. So if you look at it, I mean, this is going to generate a lot of users who are in this particular. These are all typical, um, you know, uh, attack methods which are used by the bad actors to gain an understanding about what the on-premises environment would look like. This is an effort to in an effort to see if the installation is done successfully, if the alerts are being generated. I'm just kind of running certain simulation. That's all. Now go to the portal. Um, Go to incidents. First time going to these pages, so that's why it's taking a little bit of time, but typically whatever simulations we have run, you can see that these has already started percolating. User group membership reconnaissance has been executed. Who has executed, which actor was involved in, etc., etc., you will get to see from here in the alerts. All groups, all users. So that kind of confirms that the sensor has been installed, successfully. But do look at the official documentation to make sure you're kind of doing the things in the right way in terms of making sure that the sensor is installed on all the area for servers, domain controllers. Don't miss out any basic prerequisites there. Um, so if you go to identities dashboard is a new one. We'll get to see a dashboard which will dynamically give you a centralized view of all the things which is happening in your organization, like how many on-premises users, cloud users, and there are this is a lab environment. You wouldn't see much of insightful information here, but in the production you are expected to see a lot of things which in terms of things which will help you improve your identity uh, posture. So we have successfully leveraged the um, uh, new PowerShell commandlets to be able to set the properties and which will help us to uh, you know ease up the installation of MDI on your in your organization. Thank you.